There we go. I think we might do that one. I'm not sure yet. We've got a few options. I've done quite a bit in this book. That was the last one I did in this one, I think. We're going to skip this one because the AI just really failed on it. And there's kind of the same problem with that one. That could be fun. Let's see. That's kind of a neat possibility as well. Don't have a crazy lot of these left to do. That looks kind of neat. Boy, he looks angry, doesn't he? Let's see. I think we're going to go with... Let's see. Do we want to go with this one? Or that one? I think we're going to go with this one. Just because we can have a little bit of fun with the water. There we go. Actually pull that out ahead of time for once instead of going searching for it. You'd be amazed how quickly this little thing can disappear. And of course, as soon as I sat down, my cat is begging for attention. That's not new. Let's see. I think we're actually going to use this shimmery greenish blue for the water. We can always go back over it with a more blue tone if we want. I think I am going to sharpen that though. My voice cuts in and out. Please bear with me. Hello, Ellie. How are we doing today? Actually, don't hate the greenish tone. Hello, Real Saudi. How are we doing? I think I might go back over this with a little bit more blue. I did not. This is a coloring book. I'm just coloring it, but I do appreciate you asking. I wish I had the artistic talent, but that is one thing. I do have artistic talent, just not in a drawing sense of it. I just do coloring. I got this one, I want to say I ordered this one through Temu, but I could be wrong on that. I've had it for a hot minute, so. Hello, Miguel. Sorry I did miss saying hello to you. Let's sounds like you might just be telling stories a little bit there, which is fine. Everybody has their own talents, and coming up with creative stories is a talent in and of itself. There we go. I think we are going to go back over it with a blue. I just have to decide which one. I'm kind of debating between these two. And I think we're going to go the darker tone, because I think it'll tie in better with the bluish green. Just to give it a little bit more depth. We don't have to hit every single area with this. There we go. Just gives it a little bit more depth and a little bit more definition. Hello, KP King and Renee. How we doing today? I am still fighting a nasty cold, but we have managed to make it on. I don't do very well at the whole stop and rest thing, so I end up fighting my colds a lot longer than your average person. Thankfully, I don't get them very often. That's a little better, isn't it? Now, let's give these rocks some color. It might not be dark enough. We'll do some of them in this tone and then others in other tones. And I started off with the water on this one simply because the water is what caught my attention and made me decide to choose this particular picture today. Please bear with me if my voice decides it wants to just not exist for a few minutes. That is a commonplace thing for me here lately. It just kind of decides it doesn't want to. There we go. It's a very rocky little stream, isn't it? And I will be continuing these colors up onto the bank a little bit here in a few. I just want to get this section done first. And I think giving different tones makes a huge difference in just making it even a little teeny bit realistic, because I have never seen anything where every single rock is the exact same color unless they were painted, or if you're in, well, even when they're all the same kind, they still have different tones and stuff to them. So there we go. We're starting to make some progress though, aren't we? My cat is still throwing a fit. He does that periodically when he wants attention and nobody's giving him any. He will just sit and holler. And then finally on this one, we're going to come in with a gray for the remainder. Also a very common color for gravel and rocks in general. And it would have been much easier and probably much faster if I did them all the same color, but it would also be kind of boring. And that is not something I try to do too often. Those look more like mushroom caps than rocks. So now we're going to kind of come up and just do a little bit on the side here. And I'm going to go back through with my other colors as well. And let's give this area some life. I think I might do one thing a little bit different with this section. And that is, I get these other colors in, and then I'm just going to go over the top of everything with my taupey color, just to kind of blend everything together and tie it all in. And because I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm ready to color some of the other things besides rocks. There we go. So now we have a start, right? Let's see. Now I'm ready to do some of these different greens. So the leaves and the greenery definitely brings a level of life to a picture, in my opinion at least. It's also a really good one if you're still kind of chewing on what color to make other parts. You know your leafies are mostly going to be green, so that gives you somewhere to kind of kick off from. There we go. And this particular green will probably just be these long grasses, just because it's a nice rich color right up against that blue. I think we have a little bit over here. Now this is an AI book, so not everything is going to have a really cohesive, recognizable pattern. Some stuff is going to just be a little bit everywhere, and when you pay a couple of dollars for a book, you kind of expect that, at least a little bit. You're not going to get a bunch of like perfection and really incredible art for a dollar or two. That's just not how the world works. Excuse me. I am still, as I said, fighting my cold. Excuse me for 1 minute. I've got to just check on my birds who are making some really interesting noises. Are we bickering or are we playing? It's always a good question. Kids and pets in general, the question is almost always, are we bickering or are we just playing? The answer is almost never exactly the same from one time to another. There we go. So this we're just going to kind of, where it's recognizable individual leaves, we're going to give it individual colors. But when it gets down here where it kind of all mushes together, we're just going to make it green. Kind of almost looks like it's supposed to be clover, but it also kind of doesn't. So there we go. I'm going to just kind of go light in here just to, it's another one of those areas where it doesn't really have a definition to know exactly what it is. There we go. So we're working this one from the bottom up apparently. But hey, it works, right? Let's see. Well, that could be a problem. It'd be a very hard time coloring with that. But I don't want that particular shade, so how long are we going to sharpen before we have actual color? All right, we're getting there. Hopefully this time it's not going to just come out on me, because that has, well, never mind. We got it sharpened and then left the sharpened part right in the color, in the sharpener. There we go. I think we're just going to use a different shade, because that one doesn't want to cooperate. And I don't feel like fighting with it. There we go. Very similar, same basic concept. I think I might do the unthinkable and actually finally throw that other pencil out, because it just keeps breaking on me as soon as I get it sharpened. And there comes a point where you've sharpened away more than half the pencil and you still can't use it. That's when it's kind of time to say, okay, I am done with that one. There we go. We got the same basic concept going though. And we're going to have a little bit of fun with color in the houses. I'm not going to do everything in muted tones and pastels because I don't feel like it. I need a little color. So we're going to have some fun with that part. But first we're going to get these wooden pieces squared away. We're going to make the door a fun color, but we're going to get, maybe we'll make the doors fun colors. I still want to get all of this wood taken care of. You can definitely have a lot of fun with stonework because there's so many different colors that you can get stones in. And paint is a thing. I do love the mushrooms in the back, almost like they're trees. So we're going to have some fun with those too. This almost looks like a mailbox up here, which is also kind of ridiculous, but hey. If it's supposed to be fairy homes, I guess it would make sense if the mailman could fly, right? Here we go. And I am getting to the point where I'm going to have to order myself a few new books. Because like this one is almost finished. I have a garden one that I've almost finished. And then I have a couple that are holiday ones that just only fit certain times. So I should probably be doing my holiday ones, but I don't want to... I just didn't feel like it today. And that, to me, is a whole valid thought process. I just realized I forgot something as my phone buzzed. Let's make it so it doesn't do that anymore. I forgot to turn on my Do Not Disturb. That is one of the bonuses of touchscreen, though. There we go. Everybody's got something to say today. If you heard that noise, that was my dog saying, hey, pay attention to me. When you live in a house full of pets, quiet times are few and far between. And you learn to treasure it, believe it or not. Sometimes, like, when you're not feeling great, it can be a lot, but most of the time, it's 100% worthwhile. Let's see. I think we're going to give this guy a nice red roof. It's a deeper, almost wine red. They call it mahogany, but it looks more wine red to me. Which is absolutely fine with me. It gets the point across. And it finally adds a little bit of color. Because we've done so many muted tones today. There we go. We're not so muted anymore. What, Loki, what? You don't say? Really? Yes, my dog kind of talks to me. He will talk to anybody and everybody. I am going over this with a white. There is a reasoning for that. It is going to mute it down a little bit. And then I'm going to go over that with a blue, I think. And it's going to create kind of, hopefully, kind of a washed effect. Because if you've ever seen anything right up against the water like this, the color doesn't stay that pure, bright tone. It does kind of wash out. And that is exactly what I was hoping for. There we go. Now he is talking to my amazing partner who's going to take him out and wander with him a bit. Let him go play. Usually settles him quite a bit. And thankfully it's not so bitterly cold today, so. There are days when the weather has you about ready to flip a coin on as to who gets to walk the dog. And let's see. I kind of like this for down here. I was going to do the individual bricks, but I decided I really didn't want to. This is kind of, they call it a yellow gold, but I think it's more of a yellow green. but I think it's got just some fun to it. It adds color without being over the top. And keeping it reasonably realistic. And I think it just works really well with that blue. So we're going to go much darker with this. I think we're going to actually take this up here and give it that green tone as well, just to tie that in. And that kind of ties the two color pieces together a little bit more. But now we need an interesting shade for the door. I think since we did that kind of greenish tone, I think this house is going to have green doors. So that is a little bit brighter than I wanted. I don't hate it, so we're going to just go with it. There we go. And then we'll come in over here, and we'll make this one match. It's actually kind of funny. I unintentionally made these doors almost the exact same color as my front door. So it's not like it's an unrealistic color. Now, let's add a little bit of, oh, that's not bright enough. Let's add a little bit of light to the windows. And I know it doesn't have to be every window, but I want it to be. It just kind of warms them up, especially these like inlaid. I missed a couple of spots. We'll go back over those with, since they look like the stonework, we'll go back over them with the kind of greenish yellow. Hello, Riker Hill. How we doing today? Thank you much. It is a coloring book, so I can't take claim for the drawing. I am adding the color, though. I can own that part very, very much so. I'm just noticing a few things that I forgot to do on this one little house. And then we'll move on to the other house, and then I guess this needs to be green. So we might do the ground over there between the houses real quick. I kind of like that this is like such a traditional little cottage, and then this is like House of Mushrooms. Having a little bit of difference between one and the other is definitely not a bad thing. And that is a little brighter than I wanted, but that's okay. We don't have much bright in this. So we're just going to go with it. Adds just that little bit more oomph. Now, I think we're going to grab my tan, because I don't want to do the taupe again. I feel like that's too meh of a color for a house. Actually, I don't think I want to do that color for that. I think I want to use that for these in the back. Do I have a really muted orange? I have that one. Do I have one that's a little bit more? I know what I can do. We'll do the same thing we did with that blue. Now this is a neat trick you can do with colored pencils and crayons. If you want something to have kind of a more muted tone, you can throw your pencil. No, that's a nerve damage issue there, but you can actually color over with white, and then you come in with your other color that you want to be just a little bit more muted than what it is, and it creates that look. And it also, because we didn't make sure we covered every single inch in that white, it creates some depth in the color and some differences here and there, which lets it just have that soft tone instead of being the oh my goodness that I'm using. I'm going to darken it just a little bit. But it gives it that pretty soft tone that I wanted, as opposed to the, oh my goodness, that is bright orange, that I love. I really do. I love a good bright orange. It just wasn't what I had in mind for this. However, we can use it for the door, because why not? Hi, Bubba's. Dog had to come up and say hello. Hi, Loki. Just in case you were wondering, this is the dog in question. He's a good boy. He's just a little needy sometimes. Go lay down, Bubba's. He's a good dog. I am going to take a little bit of a stronger orange for the roof, because I can. And because I've really, really, really controlled my urge to use insanely bright colors. And I need some bright orange. Even though that's not super bright or anything. Thank you. There we go. Now we have an orange house. And let's see. We're going to give it very light green shutters just because we can. Because it's a mushroom house that has shutters on it. We can have a little fun, right? And let's go in and put a little bit of light in these windows. All right. We have actually worked our way from the bottom up. So now we're going to get these backgrounds in. And that's where this comes in. So we are going to do all three mushrooms in this tan color. They are like, I don't know if they're mushroom mountains or mushroom trees, but they're definitely quite large, aren't they? And the cat is now throwing in even more of a fit because he heard us moving around out here. He is blind and does kind of refuse to leave the room that he's in unless one of us is carrying him, so he unfortunately is going to have to wait until I finish up. And I'll bring him out and he'll chill with me for a good while. He might just be a teeny tiny little bit spoiled. Don't know how that happened, really, I swear. I am really bad at actually putting my pencils back where they go. And I just noticed I missed the chimney on this guy. So we're going to grab my brown for that. We're not going to color in the smoke because there's not really much point to that. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be cloud or leaves, but we're going to leave it as cloud. We'll take care of that here in just a minute. There we go. And just take care of that last little bit of green. Now we're going to do one of my favorite things. And we're going to leave just a hint, or a suggestion is my favorite way to put it, of color in the sky. Doesn't have to be dark. Doesn't need to be like, oh my goodness, that is blue. Just needs a light suggestion of color. Now I am a little bit extra today, so I am using a shimmery blue to make my suggestion of blue, but that's just because that's where I'm feeling like being today. There we go. It's actually a really pretty shade when used more intensely, but we have finished the sky up, and I am actually happy with how it turned out. So we are going to stop here, and I will talk to you guys next time.